Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first YouTube exclusive show, Greetings from Cybertron, where we're going to talk all things Transformers. We're starting with all the Marvel comic stuff. I am Phil. That man over there, you can catch on the Quantum Zone podcast on the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks podcast, or here on YouTube with his fancy new haircut.
Yes, I'm Matt. Hello.
That male model over there.
Yes. I'm modeling our official Quantum Zone t-shirt, which only 3 people in the world have, but I keep forgetting to mention on our podcast, I have more. If you want one, hit me up.
Nice.
We could work it out. Yeah.
But yeah, since this is the first episode, I figured before we get into issue 1, what's your history with Transformers? Did you watch the animated series? Did you have toys? Did you ever read any of this comic series?
So I never read the comic series, or you know what? I might have had them from time to time. Sometimes when I was a kid, I would get comics just brought back from the drugstore. So I had maybe some G.I. Joes. I probably did have some Transformers at the time, and had some of the toys. And see, my thing was I never went crazy with getting toys from like all the Transformers or all the G.I. Joes. I liked a little bit of each, and I would always have crossovers. So in my head, I've had Cyclops doing battle with Decepticons with the aid of the WWF's Dusty Rhodes coming in, and maybe a Ninja Turtle or two. I would get pretty excited about that. And when real life, that crossover never happens, but Aliens versus Predator and stuff happen. I thought, I've already done this. Are they adapting my toy play? I had a very vivid imagination as a kid.
I was gonna say you did G.I. Joe versus Transformers before Marvel did.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get to those at some point. Yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, this series holds a special place in my heart because issue 7, which we'll get to, was my very first comic book ever.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, the very first thing I ever read was the issues of this series.
That's very cool. I just
branched out.
Yeah. Did you keep with that series? Did you just keep reading on from issue 7? Or
yeah, I kept all the way to issue 80, which was the last issue of this run.
Oh, awesome. And then they went a few years off, or did they?
I think Marvel eventually lost the rights, and then I forget if someone else picked it up, but it's at IDW right now.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, and of course I remember the movie being a pretty big deal, the Transformers movie.
Yeah.
I have not watched it in years. I don't remember that much, except that I later learned that it was Orson Welles' final film, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to do that eventually. But there is Marvel did have a 3-issue adaptation of the movie too. So
yeah, when I was looking online to pick up some issues in preparation for this podcast, I found a Marvel adaptation of the Transformers movie, but it was the most recent one, so I didn't get that. But yeah.
Oh, you know what? I actually forgot that after the 80-issue Transformers, Marvel did a little more because they had the Transformers were gone for a while. Then they showed up in a few issues of G.I. Joe.
Oh.
And then they did a Transformers. What was it, Generation 2 or so? It was like a second series that only ran for 12 issues or something, but.
Yeah, very cool.
But we'll get to all that stuff.
So I like the name of the show, Greetings from Cybertron. I feel like you could make some postcards to market this, by putting that out.
If you if you would like a postcard, write in and let us know.
Yeah, send us a postcard. Maybe we'll send you one back.
Yeah, there you go.
I think I got a Groupon for Vista Prints, so maybe we can make that happen. There's some, I think the 4th panel of the very first issue we're about to talk about has a nice city skyscape of that. So, we'll see. Let's do a podcast before we launch a whole marketing campaign.
Yeah.
But you got the Twitter handle. If you're not watching this, well, you are watching this on YouTube. This is a YouTube exclusive, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
So at Greet Cybertron, give it a follow.
So how do we want to do this? This is very wordy. Do we want to take turns on pages, or?
Yeah, that's all right. That sounds good to me. Now we're both reading the digital one because this was a little bit of a pricey issue. It's a big collector's item because this was the first of a 4-issue limited series that just continued, right?
Yep, just kept going and going. Yeah, because the last issue even says number 80 in a 4-issue limited series.
That's great.
But yeah, this was like only one of 3 issues I didn't have, but yeah.
Cool. So you still had the ones from childhood kicking around.
Yep.
That's awesome.
All right, so let's dive in. Like we said, maybe we'll take turns on some of these pages here.
Yeah, it's a workload for sure.
I was looking for dates on this digital copy, but I think I'm pretty sure it's 1984.
Yeah, I believe so. And then this was reissued in 2008. That's what my digital one says.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah, I see that. Oh yeah, January 2008 was, I guess. All right, so
let's give credit where credit is due first.
Okay.
Ralph Macchio, script, plot by Bill Manlow, pencils Frank Springer, inks by Kim DeMulder, letters by Higgins and Parker, colors by Nell Yomtov. And then there's a bunch of digital things, but you know.
Yeah.
Robbie Robbins, that's a nice name. He did the design. Amari Osario did production and the edited collection. Justin Eisinger and Andrew Stephen Harris. This is collected in a big trade if you want to dig deep on the whole thing too.
Oh yeah, IDW has a bunch of trades. Like their Transformers Classics. I don't know if there was a sale or if it's always like that, but all the trades I saw for this series were like $5.99 or $6.99 each, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I'm renting mine for free through my library's Hoopla app. So if you have a library, you can read digital comics on it. It's pretty cool.
Support your local library.
Yeah, absolutely. Although it's weird that I don't know the logistics of returning a digital copy or if someone else can't read this because I am. But anyway, thanks. I'll only have it for a few more days. All right, so you want to kick it off?
Yeah, I'll kick it off. But yeah, you'll notice as the issues progress, like the art styles change too. But I think they got like art from like, I don't know, Hasbro or whatever. Like you'll see the look of some of the Transformers evolve from this. But
transform, if you will. Yeah.
Yes. All right. So page 1, Transformers issue 1 starts in space. Circling the star Alpha Centauri ages ago was a planet unlike any other in the heavens, Cybertron. No rock or soil or sand contributed to its bizarre geography. Its content was entirely mechanical. Cybertron existed from metallic surface to core as a vast Saturn-sized machine world, a world whose origins were lost in the dead past. Yet life had evolved here. It had grown and adapted and thrived in its environment remarkably well. And cities rose across a broad mechanical expanse, cities that were the products of Cybertron's dominant life form, the Autobots. Whereas life elsewhere in the cosmos usually evolved through carbon bonding, here it was the interaction of naturally occurring gears, levers, and pulleys that miraculously brought forth sentient beings. They created a mechanical paradise, a machine-filled landscape where each Autobot went about his pursuit in peace and prosperity.
And you see them, they're mingling, walking around, and then
walking, flying.
Yes, but every paradise has its serpent, and on this world, it was Megatron, commander of those who called themselves the Decepticons. And then you got is Megatron speaking first? The Puma. Look at them below, contented fools, ripe for our conquest. And that was Ravage. And Megatron says, "Indeed, Ravage," not to be confused with Ravage 2099, which will come up later. Indeed, Ravage, we have lived peacefully with the Autobots for eons, slowly, secretly gathering our strength and pursuing our technology. Now we shall strike at those who have brought the stagnation of peace and plenty to Cybertron. They shall learn the way of conflict, the way of war, the way of Megatron. And then you see the classic Decepticons logo above one of their buildings, which I know, surprisingly, multiple people with that tattoo. I don't know. So it shows their side. I know a lot of bad people. In the weeks that followed, Decepticons from everywhere reported for clandestine meetings to learn the logistics of the coming clash and their parts in the struggle. The wonders of their technology bestowed upon the Decepticons the awesome ability to transform into weapons of unprecedented power. With these tasks completed, all was in readiness for the first assault. And it shows the vehicles being maintained and built. And then Megatron's got this huge bazooka. Strike, strike, with all the might at our command. Death to the Autobots and the decay they stand for. The war spread until it was global. Conflict forces unleashed here, staggering, inconceivable. And you get big airstrike going on. And each attack upon an Autobot stronghold was orchestrated with the precision of which only finely tuned machinery is capable. As the powers at play grew in strength, Cybertron itself was shaken loose from its orbit and sent hurtling through space. And so you see the planet just cruising past the sun into the cosmos.
And then next page, we get one big splash page with the credits that Matt already read on it. And
okay. I should have said spoiler. I was reading the digital credits.
That's okay. That's okay.
And
so it's a big splash page of a huge battle of Autobots and Decepticons fighting, and still the war raged across the battle-scarred surface of the runaway planet. They're taken by surprise and destroyed by the billions and destroyed by the billions in the initial assault. The surviving Autobots were not defenseless. Each was gifted with the ability to alter his configuration into strange, unearthly vehicles of great offensive potential. And while the Decepticons and their armored aircraft shapes swooped down upon the many Autobot city-states erected during the war, the Autobot warriors stood firm and fought back. In time, the magnificent armies on each side of the struggle became known as the Transformers.
So the next page, we see sort of a fallout. You see wounded on the ground, and despite the valor of the Autobots, the Decepticons had planned the pattern of the war too well. Autobots' casualties mounted everywhere, and in the forefront of the most devastating attacks stood the malevolent Megatron, whose deadly fusion cannon spewed endless streams of energy that laid waste to entire Autobot strongholds. And he's got the huge bazooka type thing firing onto the city. Soon, we Decepticons will have ground our enemies under our heel, and we shall begin our prime task, rebuilding Cybertron into a cosmic dreadnought. We shall turn our very planet into the single most deadly weapon in existence. Then let the universe beware. But from the Iacon, from Iacon, greatest of city-states, there came a leader to inspire the Autobots in their hour of deadliest peril, Optimus Prime. Using his ability to transform into a combat vehicle, Optimus Prime possessed a firepower potential that none but Megatron could match. And so it went from showing him standing tall to turning into kind of a small tank with a similar big shotgun on the left side, blasting back.
Yep.
Under the leadership of Optimus Prime, the Autobots repelled the Decepticons' assaults with renewed vigor and rebuilt their fallen city-state until again they functioned as sanctuaries. And so the war raged for over 1,000 years as Cybertron continued its mad rush through the cosmos. Wow. The 1,000-Year War. That's where it comes from.
Oh no, this is like millions of years.
Yeah, no rust. I mean, it's organic metal devices they're working with there, but
until the day came when danger threatened from without as well as within. Cybertron's course had placed it directly into the path of an asteroid belt. Autobot astronomers relayed the danger instantly. A meeting of the Autobot elders was called. And we see one of the elders standing there. And that is what confronts us, my friends. The homeworld will perish unless we act now. And Optimus, still holding his gun, says, whether we're racked by war or not, this is our world, sire. One day we will reclaim it. But first, this threat must be met. I shall lead a specially selected group in the space itself to clear a path through the asteroids. But there is another danger. Our flight will expose us to the attack of the Decepticons. Those accompanying me might all perish in the attempt to save Cybertron, but I shall be there to meet the enemy should he strike. Unknown even to Optimus, his words were heard by the Decepticon Ravage, whose detection by any monitoring device was virtually impossible. And Ravage is thinking, Megatron will be pleased to hear of this, I am certain. And then we see the Autobots taking off. The Autobots labored to construct a craft that would propel them into the void, a craft dubbed the Ark.
Looks kind of Quinjet-esque for you Avenger fans.
But it's a lot bigger because that's like their whole headquarters when they get to Earth. Spoilers.
Oh, yeah. True.
But yeah,
true.
So yes, the Ark. I wonder if they boarded it 2x2.
I kind of wonder if we only see a little bit of the Elder speaking to Optimus Prime in the background, but I kind of wonder if they transform into vintage cars, maybe a horse and buggy or something.
Amish Transformer.
All right. So then we see a Dark Tower-esque looking thing. Meanwhile, inside the foreboding Castle Decepticon, that was home to Megatron. You have done well, Ravage. Your abilities to absorb electromagnetic radiation and thus remain undetected and are enviable qualities. And then Ravage says, and ever shall they be in the service of the Decepticon Empire, my lord. See that you never waver, master of stealth. All too often, the nature of the spy is to weigh his loyalties and switch when he feels the time is right. But Ravage, saying loyally, never, great Megatron. Now, what is our course of action? Megatron, we shall construct our own spacecraft, pursue Optimus and his fools into space, and strike when they are weakest after a completed task. The death of their beloved ruler will so demoralize the remaining Autobots that their surrender will be a certainty. And then you see a little bit of asteroids being blasted. Ahead, the sons of Cybertron unleashed a celestial display of power seldom seen as huge chunks of spaceborne rocks were pulverized, clearing the necessary pathway. And inside the spacecraft, you see Optimus Prime addressing his army. Fellow Autobots, we have succeeded through your efforts, and soon our world will pass safely through this dangerous segment of space and travel near the lifeless third planet of the solar system before going beyond. Now, the third planet from the solar system, for those of you not familiar with planets or sitcoms from the 90s, Third Rock from the Sun, that's Earth. That's Earth. Okay.
But this is millions of years ago, so it's lifeless.
True. Yes.
And so Primus continues, let us rejoice in our achievement as we return to Cybertron, and let us redouble our efforts to end the slaughter that has consumed our world for so many centuries. We must make peace with the enemy, with the Decepticons. But the words of Optimus Prime were lost in a sudden din as we see the Decepticons leave their ship and start blasting the Ark. The surprise attack violently shook the Ark and its occupants. Swiftly, the Autobots regrouped and retaliated, and we see them standing on the Ark shooting at the Decepticons. But their efforts were impossible to sustain. I think it's Prime. We're 2 weeks after the exertion of destroying the asteroids. Our firepower, no match.
Yeah, so they've come in through the big open bay door, and now they've infiltrated them. Even the safety of the Ark was insufficient. Our hull is breached, and then shroom. That's not a giant mushroom. That's just the sound effect of a blast. Prepare to resist Decepticon boarding party. But the Decepticons were fresh, fully fueled for battle, and the enervated Autobots were cut down where they stood. You see an Autobot that we haven't met yet. We've really just met Optimus Prime. But he says, my computations show defeat is imminent. Within 5.7 minutes, optimal course of action include... And then Optimus interrupts. We have but one course open to us, Prowl, most trusted of my advisor. So that's Prowl. He kind of has horns on the top of his head. Optimus presses a button with a click. I had anticipated such a move by the Decepticons. The Ark and its secrets must never fall into enemy hands. So I plotted an alternate course that would take us on a suicide heading, directly into the third planet of this solar system. Farewell, my friends. Though we die, at least our enemies are taken with us. So we are 9 pages in, and there's already some heavy stuff. For especially for, I don't know, like the demographic. Now, you're a little bit more well versed in Transformers lore. The TV show came first, immediately with the toy line, and then this.
I'm trying to remember because I discovered the cartoon first, but I mean this is all within the same year, so it's a difference of probably weeks or months. So
that's true. It could have been similar creative teams working together.
But a lot of this issue is like similar to the cartoon because they this whole battle and them crashing the Earth.
Mm. But this is cool. It's not dumbed down for kids. I mean, there's some heavier elements. There's some big words. There's words that I've read that I don't use or know.
I know, well. Yeah. But I mean, as we get going, especially after this one, they're not so wordy either. But a lot of setup here, like you said.
Yeah.
All right, so they pointed towards Earth. The impact was awesome. Huge clouds of dust and ash blanketed the nearby terrain as the spacecraft embedded itself in a volcanic mountain, which we see with a bathroom. What if that killed the dinosaurs?
I have to use the bathroom, and then you're blown up.
Silence for over 4 million years. Nothing disturbed the craft like the crypt-like atmosphere within that dormant structure. And then, like a sleeper rudely awakened, the volcano erupts in a crescendo of explosive brilliance. Vashtroom. The eruption uncovers an object buried some 40,000 centuries ago. An alien object pocked and pitted by the passage of time. Time which has changed the face of this planet and those who dwell upon it. The currently dominant species has named this world they rule Earth. This volcano, Mount St. Hilary. They have marked the movement of time numerically as it is reckoned. The date is 1984. And all that means nothing here. Time and place have seemingly little significance to those who lay within this rotting hulk. The shroud of darkness has descended again here for perhaps another 4 million years. Perhaps not.
Ooh. Oops. And then we see pinpricks of light appear inside the craft, and the barely audible hum of machinery awakened by the titanic blast. So it's like the ultimate nature jump-starting technology. Beacons flare, probing the darkness, illuminating the dark cavernous walls. In the side of the great ship, a hatch that has remained closed for millennia now opens. From it, a device is launched forth. You see this small sort of satellite dish encrusted thing coming out of the volcano. It is a sensor drone. Its mission, gather data for transmission back to the Ark. The scout craft relays its telemetry to the mothership. Although it was state-of-the-art technology when designed, its data banks possess only the capability of perceiving mechanical life forms. Thus, the many carbon-based species pass below unnoticed by the active drone. And then the drone is reporting, sensors confirm this is not Cybertron, nor any world in the Alpha Centaur star system. Scanning sequence continuing. Finally, miles from its point of origin, the probe picks up signals from what its logic circuits say must be one of the planet's indigenous life forms. And you see an airplane showing up on their radar. The configuration bears a striking resemblance to Decepticon attack forms. The drone swiftly plots its return to the Ark.
Forests teeming with countless life forms appear utterly dead to the drone, but an Oregon interstate highway sends a stream of data back into the Autobot probe, almost overloading its circuits with information. Functionally, they resemble the vehicular Autobot forms, and automaton affinity exists, and that seems enough. Because you see all these cars and trucks on the highway. But there is more, much more. Creatures of seemingly unending variety and shapes. We see a boombox because it's 84.
Yeah.
And mechanically and electrically alive to the drone sensors as looking at someone's TV. Back to the Ark and resurrection. The ship's brain dispatches revival drones to reawaken its long dormant crew, as it says, commencing revival procedures.
They see a big screen, not unlike what you'd see as like a jumbotron of a sport arena. Shows a bunch of vehicles on it as the drone is. Wait, I don't know if that's the drone. It's a big mechanical device. It's picking up some parts of the Autobots that are there. True to the programming, the Ark alters the structure of the inhabitants, rebuilding them to be able to change their shapes in accordance with the mechanical life detected beyond the Ark, the better to ensure survivability. But its memory banks were damaged in the ages ago crash, and knowledge of the Great War was erased. Thus, friend and foe alike are equally subject to its attentions. The Ark's alterations are such that the basic nature of each robot is preserved. The Autobots are programmed to imitate earthly vehicles. The Decepticons will resemble earthly weapons and communications devices. Both factions, if necessary, can revert to their original robotic forms. Megatron, what has happened? Where are we? And then the ship brain imparted the information on locale to our circuitry. We crash landed on this world ages ago and have been a state of dormancy since until an explosion reawakened the Ark and it revived us. And then you see Optimus Prime about to step back up for the first time.
Limbo.
Yeah, he is limbo, and he's kneeling. I don't think that the Cybertron national anthem is playing, so that's a relief. The Autobots, too, though groggy, have arisen from their stasis. Thus, let us finish the task that has driven our kind for centuries. But first.
Okay, you're gonna get a lot of dialogue.
This is the page that stuck out to me the most when I was thinking about this podcast, and I was like, "Wow, I hope I don't get this page when we're trading off." So,
well, you get the Autobots next. I get the Decepticons. I'm not even gonna say who's saying this stuff because
we don't know. As readers, we don't know yet.
Well, no, because they all like call themselves out in the third person, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, make a good
point.
Okay, well, that's our introduction, I guess. Yeah.
Megatron says, "Are we all accounted for on this brave new world? Skywarp's up for rating, sir, and my teleportation power will pop me right into their midst to make mischief. As ever, your cause is thundercrackers, great Megatron. Our landbound enemy will be picked off at will as I soar over them, striking with rockets and sonic booms. As the fastest, most maneuverable Decepticon jet flyers, I, Starscream, shall continue to accumulate Autobot body counts that enhance the reputation of our leader. Can the speeches, huh, Star? Rumble's back in town, and I'm going to shake the place up with my low-frequency ground waves. You hit him from up top, and I'll do the job down here. And his twin, I, Frenzy, will shatter our opponent's equilibrium using high-pitched sound waves. I will not cease until every Autobot is slain. And you, Soundwave? I will monitor transmissions and read Autobot electrical impulses to learn their plans. Even my photographic memory serves as a defensive weapon. Does even that compare with Ravage's power to slip undetected anywhere? And my own monitoring devices in my nose module allow me to smell, hear, and detect electromagnetic radiation beyond that of any Decepticon. And it all pales next to the artistry of Buzzsaw. I can pinpoint a hex nut at 20 miles with my optical sensors. And my beak has carved many an Autobot warrior into a masterpiece of scrap metal. Just leave some for Laserbeak, comrades. This is a Russian. Allow me a few struggling survivors of our battle, and I'm certain I'll pry some useful information from them with my optical lasers, even if they die in the telling. And Megatron says, come, our time to strike is later. The ship's brain has placed into our circuits the knowledge that this world possesses enormous untapped fuel resources we can exploit in our struggle against the Autobots. Starscream, why not strike now, my leader? End the Autobot threat, and this world is ours for the taking. What flawed logic persuades you otherwise? And Megatron says, sound logic persuades me. We are still weak ourselves and few in number. One of our mightiest is missing. Who could that be? We'll get there. We'll get there by issue 4. Our fuel sources, uncertain. Should we attack? Fail? The might of Optimus could well decide the outcome. No, we leave. We will fight, Starscream, but at a time and place of our choosing. At that, Megatron orders his Decepticon to turn and retreat. And while retreating, to transform. As we see, the ones who can turn into planes, and everyone else kind of jumps on.
Yeah. Now, there's 2 planes, and then a cassette tape? Is that the cassette tape on the far right?
There's a bunch of tapes.
Purple thing?
Laserbeak, Buzzsaw, Rumble, Frenzy, and Ravage are all cassette tapes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So we've just met a lot of characters. There's a lot going on, and now here I also have a lot of text for the next page. All right, I gotta zoom in on this. Okay, wow. I'm not reading on a tablet. I have my phone, so I don't have a. I'm not a microscope. What am I? Okay, I'll just talk. The Decepticons tear through the Ark's ancient walls and flee out of the volcano. Did you see the shapes, Great Optimus? Warlike forms native to this world. No doubt. The Ark has given us the information necessary to understand the Prowl, who inhabit the world as the Decepticons have done. Now let me ensure that our people have each survived intact. And then we get to meet some of the Autobots. Ironsides, ready to roll, Optimus. I may be old and ornery. Old Ironsides, get it? The USS Constitution reference. But my steel alloy skin hasn't been dented yet in battle, and I've got a bunch of new liquids I want to test out in the water. Wow, what is that word? Calling the Grace?
Which one is it?
The when Ironsides is talking, he says the last word he says to test out in the water. Oh god, it's just close together.
Yeah.
In the water gun, yes sirree.
Robot talk, you know.
Yeah, all right. Oh, I see. We leave right now and forget about traipsing after the stupid Decepticons. I'll use my stress testing sensors and mathematical skill to rebuild the Ark and get us back to Cybertron where we belong. Come on, Huffer, get with it. I only require a drop of fuel to run, and I'm going to explore this whole planet, especially since they said so much of it's water. And Bumblebee's little levers love a good swim. Well, Sunstreaker. Well, Sunstreaker isn't leaving until the rest of the world gets a look at the sleekest Autobots in the bunch. And if any Decepticons dare to mess with the finish, we'll get 2 groups to air missiles stuffed where he won't want them. If you're here as fast as Cliffjumper, is, Sunstreaker, you wouldn't worry about your finish. And while I'm dodging fire, my glass gas can make any Decepticon brittle as ice. Huh. Brawn, we don't need any gas to rip things up. Nobody's stronger. Nobody's stronger than me. One punch and your building or Decepticon goes bye-bye. Side swipes right up there with you, Brawn, because I use my arms and pile drivers. I admit it's a little rash to rush headlong at Decepticon fortifications, but not one of them stopped me yet.
I'm just going to give you an applause there. I mean, there's a lot of text on there, and to read that on a phone,
yeah,
I mean,
it's a little bit tough. And there's some sassiness too, you know. There's some slang, yes-eries, apostrophe ends, but
all right, and I'll get to the second half of the Autobots because
it's a big splash page.
Yeah, another splash page, more Autobots. Frankly, I'd rather be elsewhere hunting turbo foxes than with you roughnecks. But while we're here, my electro disruptor is charged up. It not only interferes with Decepticon circuitry, it also makes me appear to be where I'm not. That's why I'm called Mirage. And I'm just waiting for the other ones to say, yeah, we know, dude. Known you for years. Nice to hear how you got your name, Mirage. See, now I got mine, Blue Streak, by being as fast as a blue streak, whatever that is.
That's very self-referential. I like that.
I know. Yeah. Some wise guys even said I talk a blue streak, whatever that is. Anyway, that's like if someone gives you a nickname, friends give you a nickname, and you're like, yeah, I'm Stinky, whatever that means. Listening to you, Blue Streak, taxes even the endless patience of Prowl. I have little to say, but my logic center dictates the most advantageous course of action in any situation. Well, that is neato, Prowl, but me, Jazz, I'd like to just cruise around and take in the sights. And if I've got to fight, well, my photon rifle and overhead flamethrowers can make things hot for the big nasties. You burn them, Jazz, but let hounds sniff them out for you. My infrared radiation collector makes me the best tracker on or off Cybertron. And if I ever get lost, my hologram gun projects terrain maps to get me back on track. Just let Wind Charger zoom ahead and scrap a decept between my magnetic arms. I'll take in this planet's scenery later. The only thing Gears wants to learn about this planet is how to get off it. I hate this place already. I just know we're going to use me as a mobile transport unit again once we have to set up. Nuts. Let's go home. The shipping. It's like, I hate this planet.
Yeah.
Well, at least you don't have to patch Autobots up like old Ratchet does when one of us busts himself up playing hero. But I've got the tools to fix anything, even though I'd rather be partying than tinkering.
And he's an ambulance. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's an ambulance that transforms into a party bus.
Within the next couple of issues, he'll like magically like get legs too. So
yeah, right now he kind of just has tank.
Yeah,
tank foot. Yeah.
And Wheeljack is the guy you've had to patch up most. I can't help it. I love to mess with gadgets, especially our weaponry, like my shoulder cannons. I try to be careful, but sometimes it doesn't work. Thanks for being around, Ratchet old buddy. I don't know how many times Trailbreaker, had to use my force field projector and hide behind my own barrier when you're experimenting with those shrapnel shells. You're worse than a wild Decepticon, Wheeljack.
So this is kind of typical to comic books where we could tell the good guy, the good guys, because they're kind of wisecracking, they talk a little bit more like people do, which is nice. So Optimus Prime is addressing everyone. At least we could be thankful that all of us have survived to this point, and perhaps even our arc is not irretrievably damaged. What say you, Huffer? And then Huffer, who kind of has a head like an arcade game, says, "I don't need any detailed analysis to know the damage was extreme, but I guess I'll have to take a sensor survey to just see how great. I'll try my best to effect repairs, but I don't have much hope. I'm really afraid we're stranded on this scrap ball forever." And is this the ambulance guy? "Don't always be so pessimistic, Huffer. It's hard enough to keep everyone's gears in gear without gumming up their motivation circuits." And then Optimus says, "My comrades, we must accept the sad truth that Cybertron may no longer even exist. But if it does, I swear, as leader of the Autobots, I shall return us there someday. But our immediate concern must be the repair of the Ark and the learnings of all we can about this alien world where fate has cast us. Let Auntie transmit signals she is receiving from across the world and place them on the monitor screens that we may partake of knowledge, our greatest weapon." And then you see a cool full panel with all of the Autobots in silhouette as they watch the screens, where you see traffic and an aerial view, a lot of cars. For the next few hours, the Autobots stand motionless, their memory receptors absorbing masses of information regarding the machine life that seems predominant upon the planet. Soon, armed with the knowledge, they will venture forth. And the more you know, knowledge is power. So Optimus is continuing. "Life, the Ark's sensors did not detect it here those millennia ago when we sought to pass through the asteroid belt nearby." And then some of his closest confidants are chipping in. "All of it unaware of the Decepticons' menace in its midst. Our mission is clear. The renegade Decepticons are to be found and defeated. It is our fault they are here. Thus, it is our duty to see their downfall. Optimus, this world is fascinating. My reconnaissance missions will be far more exciting than mere logistical gathering." Optimus: "Agreed, Hound, but let us never forget our primary purpose, to spare this world from the scourge we have unwittingly unleashed upon it."
Here we go. Get some humans, teenage kid. Oh, wait till you hear Matt Kona do his teenage kid impression. But
Okay.
elsewhere in the state of Oregon, life carbon based goes on. Uh-oh. I can hear it coming. Here's where I get though. Where were you after school lecture? But I can't blame Dad. He's right. Buster? Son, I've tried to be understanding. I know you haven't got the slightest interest in cars or mechanical things, but regardless, there are still times when I need you here. Sorry, Dad. You know I'm in the literary scholarship program, and there's so much library work involved. I have to stay after school sometimes. But if I do get that scholarship, it'll mean you have a lot less bills to pay when I go to college. I know you're doing your best, son, but when you've always got your nose buried in a book, and that bothers me. I just wish you were doing something more useful to you, something that'll lead to a job one day. Know what I mean? Sure, Dad, I'll try, really. Well, I've just about got everything wrapped up here now, so go ahead. If you want to go to the movies with your buddies, okay. Just be back by 10. On the dot. I'll see you, Dad. Buster, I hope you know I'm only thinking of you. The world is full of folks that'll eat you right up if you don't show them you can do something, and that you learn by living, not reading.
Wow. Very anti-Autobot knowledge is power policy.
I know.
All right. So, continuing in the human carbon-based world, not far away, a hitchhiker seeks a ride on a lonely highway winding down the side of Mount St. Hilary, which is the volcano that started this all up.
Yep.
Hitchhiker, I've had my thumb out all day, and I ain't even seen a single car. All right, why do you put your thumb out then? Why don't you just put your thumb out when you see a car? You're really wasting valuable walking down a mountain energy. He continues. Looks like I may be hoofing it all the way to town. And then you hear the low rumble of an engine getting louder. Whoa! Maybe I spoke too soon, but that can't be one car making all that noise. Heck, it sounds like the Indy 500. Gets louder. Boom! As you see, 3 cars and 2 quite military-looking vehicles speeding by. And then the hitchhiker's reacting. Holy smokes! A whole slew of cars traveling at top speed, and nobody's driving. And then the cars are communicating with each other. Well, Prowl, you're leading the expedition, so when do I get start throwing punches? Optimus has assigned us the task of reconnaissance. Braun, we are to avoid hostile contact unless absolutely necessary. I'm with Braun. Let me at him. Stay in line, Cliff Jumper. You're getting your chance on my command only. Which is good because they're going around a bend, and cliff jumpers would be inclined to just go over that cliff. But, so it could. That's just me. All right, sorry. Want to bet, Braun, that I'll be the first to spot an Earthling? What do you make of this, Hound? Nobody notices things like you do. I wish I had half your tracking talents. I'm too busy sorting my impressions out to give you an opinion, Bumblebee, but I will let you know. Prowl, my turret scope is locked onto some vital machine signs just over this ridge. Prepare for contact, Autobots. Defense modes if necessary. So there's a little comedy in there. They're betting on the first human life they'll see, completely ignoring the hitchhiker. Yeah.
Are they betting some energon?
Yeah. Hitchhikers are people too. Come on.
Yeah. Reaching the top of the ridge, the transformed Autobots draw silently to a stop. Sensors sweeping the scene below. They strain to understand what it is they are scanning. And Bumblebee, is that them, Prowl? Have we found the Earthlings? I don't know, Bumblebee. They look like the inhabitants the Ark scanned as they see cars at a drive-in.
Yeah, and a romantic kiss on the big screen.
But what was that giant screen, and what were they all doing assembled before it? Probably some kind of religious ritual, Hound. Why would machines worship moving pictures of strange objects? The only way we're going to find out, Bumblebee, is to ask. But meanwhile, high above the Autobots, this is Decepticon Laserbeak reporting to the Decepticon leader Megatron, so they didn't get confused if they were Autobots.
Yeah.
The Autobots have ventured forth from the volcano and seek to make contact with this planet's inhabitants. Laserbeak's message causes consternation among the Decepticons assembled on an inaccessible mountain peak. Megatron, the Autobots, in alliance with the inhabitants of Earth. Starscream, we cannot allow that, Megatron. And I think it's Soundwave. We have already learned that Earth possesses abundant fuel resources that we can exploit as we prepare for the conquest of this world. Megatron, we must deny those resources to our enemies. Go forth then, my Decepticons. Destroy the Autobots.
Whoa. So they're coming down from the hills. I kind of wonder if the tourism at Mount St. Helen rose in the days after this Transformers comic was published.
I don't know.
But we'll continue. Down there at the drive-in, their curiosity piqued by the strange ritual, the Autobots move into the drive-in. See the one working the booth kind of reading a comic book, not paying attention, just says, all right, how many? Come on. You pay by the head, which is odd. I've only been to a couple drive-ins, usually pay by the carload, but by the car. But she sees there's nobody driving, and they kind of just pass her by. And then you got Bumblebee saying, I'm going to be first to greet an Earthling. Bumblebee, come back. We can't check out. Come back. We must What? We must.
Reconnoiter. I think it's like.
Okay. We must reconnoiter first. See, we're learning together. You can't check the exuberance of youth, Prowl. And in a nearby car, there's a couple making out in the front seat, and someone in the back seat complaining. Hey, Buster, Jesse, could you two disengage so I could see this movie? Wow, talk about a third wheel in a car with four wheels. Sorry. Oh, hey, what the heck? We've been hit. And you hear a crump as they get rear-ended. And they come out and they see the yellow bug, Bumblebee, and the fella in the front seat.
It's Buster.
Buster, there he is. Oh yeah, sorry. I should have known from the pink shirt. So Buster stops making out with his lady. Hope they didn't chip a tooth getting rear-ended while kissing, but bumped from behind by a fender-bending beetle. That'll cream me. And then he walks over to talk to the driver, who is not there. Listen, I say, that's weird. No one's in there. Did its brakes slip so that it's rolled into Dad's car? Or is this some kind of joke? I wasn't doing the voice as well as you did. I'm sorry. I'm a little off today.
Nah, you're good. You're good.
Okay, all right.
Buster's question goes unanswered as the Decepticons attack as they start blasting at the flying, blasting the ground to Shree. Baroom. As Buster and his friends go flying and Bumblebee gets hit a little bit as he goes, ow! Oh!
Now, I really like the way that they do the sound effects in it because it's like part of it. It's almost like they're getting hit by the words Baroom. And that's really cool.
And who's that? O says, jumping jet fighters. This place has just become a war zone. Jesse says, Buster, we've got to get away from here. And he says, you and O go for help, Jess. I've got to stay. And he's thinking, how can I possibly tell them that I thought I heard this Volkswagen cry out in pain and no one's inside? I have to find out what's happening here. And see the other Autobots. Prowl says, this is almost beyond belief. The Decepticons have launched an assault and the Earth vehicles have done absolutely nothing to defend themselves. Can this strange ritual be so overwhelming an experience that has put the Earth robots in a trance, or was the data from the Ark wrong? I must put my logic circuits to work on this. And I think it's Braun says, Prowl, I don't intend on sitting here all day being used for target practice. I say we make a stand here and now. And Prowl, I'd hope the Optimus we could avoid this, but it seems our adversaries have left us little choice. Assume defensive configurations as they transform. Braun, now you're talking my lingo.
And then the aerial assault continues. I told Megatron the frontal assault tactic he's so fond of is foolish. Thundercracker, guile, and stealth are far more effective than missiles in the long run. We have to follow Megatron's way, Starscream. It's been successful up till now. I don't think we should openly defy him as you've been known to do. And then we got the Autobots speaking back to him. Get close to me, because I can take the brunt of their firepower without flinching. Come, Starscream, surely you don't fear to strike at a foe that is unable to fly, do you? Try to take a bite out of me, will you, Laserbeak? Well, here's something to chew on, as he cocks his arm and gets ready to fire back. I'll hold my attack for just a moment until the Decepticon scum gets within range, and then in one of the planes coming down, Thundercracker, look! Cliffjumper is alone. Slay him. So, Starscream, you strike at me because you think you think isolation makes me vulnerable? You have obviously never flown in the face of my glass gas gun. Yar! The gas coats me, making my metal brittle and breakable as glass.
Gas gun. All right. And we see flee, Thundercracker, fly. Cliffjumper says, I hope my comrades have witnessed my triumph.
He just wants credit.
I know. But as Cliffjumper's companions have other concerns at the moment, as we see Hound facing Ravage, we must not let the battle divert us from locating our friend Bumblebee. The little one may be lying somewhere hurt or worse. Hound's tracking abilities would soon pick up Bumblebee's trail, were it not the Autobots' own immediate location suddenly revealed to the Decepticons by one who skulks in the shadows. And he says, Ravage, finally reveal yourself, Master Spy. Now back to your leader Megatron and tell him who defeated you this day. He's thinking, I can imagine Ravage's anger were he to learn that he fled from nothing, merely three-dimensional holograms cast by my turret gun, because it looked like you shoot missiles at him. Is that Soundwave? It will only be a matter of time before my concussion cannon strikes, and there will be 2 less Autobots clanking around. And Prow, Cliffjumper, my logic circuits have determined that the arc was an error. Look, do you see the movement exhibited by those bizarre-looking objects? And Cliffjumper, yes, but what does it mean? Prow, it means that the mechanical vehicles we saw were not alive, but those small figures are. That's why the vehicles made them move to defend themselves. They are not sentient. When they moved upon the roadway we saw, the small beings were controlling them.
And so they continue to powwow. And what we are seeing is non-machine life. As hard as that may be to accept, that is the only logical explanation. Obviously, this changes things considerably. What should we do next? As they begin to transform back into cars. Next, we report our findings to Optimus Prime in person. Radio waves can be monitored. You know, I was thinking about that earlier when the Decepticons were using each other's first names over the radio. I thought that maybe the Autobots could pick it up. Maybe we'll get to that at some point. He continues. Only he possesses the wisdom we need to deal with these new contingencies. Follow me to the Ark, Autobots, as they begin to pull out of the shrapnel of this attacked drive-in scene. But what of our small friend Bumblebee? Perhaps he was not injured too badly and has already left. In any case, we must leave immediately and draw the Decepticons' fire, because these non-mechanical life forms do not appear capable of defending themselves. And then we see old... sorry, what's the kid's name again?
Buster.
Buster. I almost said Bucky. Buster is looking under the hood, or actually in the trunk where the engine is of the bug, and not far away. The noise is coming from this car, really weird, almost like crying. It's been badly damaged, leaking something that looks like, but isn't, oil. Buster continues to think, and I haven't got the slightest idea what to do with it. I'm no mechanic. That's Dad's field. Dad, say, if I could get this bug to his garage, he'll know how to patch it up. And so Buster Whitnicky climbs behind Bumblebee, where only to discover no key, no ignition, no gas pedal. How does a car start? On cue, vroom, and it starts to move all by itself. It's moving out slowly, sluggishly. It seems like all I'm doing is guiding it away. He does have a steering wheel.
Yes, guided away from the battlefield. Holy smokes, am I dreaming? Or did those big robots who were fighting the planes just change into cars? Buster gets no chance, however, to further observe the Autobots' escape, for subject only to his steering it where he wants it to go. The yellow Volkswagen whisks him away. Later that night, you hear bang, clang, and Buster's dad, what the deuce? Somebody's messing around in my garage. What's that? Oil? And he's like, Buster, that you, son? What the devil? And he's like, Dad, listen. Hey, don't tell me. After all my years of trying to get you to put down the poetry and pick up a monkey wrench, it looks like you finally took your old dad's advice. Fixing cars on the side, are you? It's like, Dad, I can explain. No need to explain, son. My shop's your shop. Use it anytime you want. I just want you to know, son, that I'm proud of you. Right, proud. I'm finally proud of you, son.
Oh, finally. Stop reading. Become your Embrace your Whitnicky destiny.
You're making out with your girlfriend, now you're fixing cars. You're a man today. Dad, I wouldn't know how to fix a car if I tried. That's why I brought this one to you. Only it's not a car. It's got wheels, boy, and fenders, headlights too. Just what would you call that? Alive? Then we hear, help me, please. I'm dying. As next issue is called, hey, buddy, can you spare some fuel?
That's a nice name.
But yes, I mean, decent enough start, but the issues do get better and not so wordy, you know.
Yeah, that's a lot to process.
Lots of setup here.
Yeah, but we've introduced a lot of characters, so there's a lot of toys available, and I will learn them all. You may have noticed I didn't say who was talking every time. I need a chart.
Don't worry, some of them appear like in this first 4 issues, and then like you might see them again like in the background of a shot. But I mean, every couple of issues, I swear you'll get like different Transformers as they release more toys.
Yeah, as it begins to evolve. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what did you think?
I enjoyed it. I kept reading onto the next one. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but yeah, things they do get a little bit more entertaining there, and I felt I connected a little bit with Buster. I never made out with a girl in a drive-in, but we just didn't have many drive-ins when I was growing up. But the dad relationship, you know, he probably didn't like discourage me reading as much, but you know, not living up to the potential. I definitely screenshotted that, so I will be posting that image to Instagram when promoting this show. So
nice. Yes. You all should promote this show and follow us on social media. Greetings from Cybertron. You can find us on Facebook, on Twitter, right there on the screen at Greet Cybertron, and follow all of our stuff at Capes Lunatics. Send us your thoughts. Like next episode 2, we're going to do issue 2. So capesandlunatics@gmail.com and voicemail 614-382-2737. It's right there on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, leave us a voicemail. Tell us what your first the first time you picked up a Transformers comic, or maybe you saw the movie or the TV show first, or maybe you got into it from the toys.
Or were you like Matt? Did you relate to Buster? Were you all in the pink shirts and poetry?
Yes. Oh man, roses are red, violets are blue, shirts are pink, and my dad's a mechanic too. It's my poem.
All right, are we done here?
I think so.
Yeah. All right. So join us next time, everyone. Issue 2. As we get deeper in, like I said, it gets better as it goes along. So come back, send your thoughts. Remember, capeslunatics@gmail.com, 614-382-2737.
Share the YouTube link, post it around, leave a comment.
Yes, and subscribe to the YouTube.
Yes. That's the thing. I was like, you can't review, but yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
You can watch live. I'll start sharing times on social media. What if you subscribe to the YouTube? That's the easiest part. YouTube will tell you. So
absolutely.
So come back next time, everyone.
We'll get a postcard.
Roll out.